Maharaj Parīkṣit cursed by a Brāhmana boy, and verse number 23 today. Yes, we did 22 yesterday. Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya
Maharaj Parīkṣit cursed by a Brāhmana boy, and verse number 23 today.
Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Canto 1, chapter 18, verse number 23. Aham hi prishto rimano bhavadbhi rachaksha atma vagamotra yavan nabha patantyatma samam patatrina stata samam vishnu gatim vipaschitah. Aham hi prishto rimano bhavadbhi rachaksha atma vagamotra yavan nabha patanti atma samam patatrinas tatha samam vishnu gatim vipaschitah. Word translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Aham, my humble self, he certainly, Prishtaha, asked by you, Aryamanaha, as powerful as the sun, Bhavadbihi, by you, Achakshe, may describe Atma Avagamaha, as far as my knowledge is concerned, Atra, herein, Yavan, so far, Nabha, sky, Patanti, fly, Atma Samam, as far as it can, Patatrinaha, the birds, Tatha, thus, Samam, similarly, Vishnu Gatim, knowledge of Vishnu, Vipaschitaha, even though learned. Translation: O Rishis, who are as powerfully pure as the sun, I shall try to describe to you the transcendental pastimes of Vishnu as far as my knowledge is concerned. As the birds fly in the sky, as far as their capacity allows, so do the learned devotees describe the Lord as far as their realization allows. The Supreme Absolute Truth is unlimited. No living being can know about the unlimited by his limited capacity. The Lord is impersonal, personal, and localized. By his impersonal feature, he is all-pervading Brahman. By his localized feature, he is present in everyone's heart as a supreme soul, and by his ultimate personal feature, he is the object of transcendental loving service by his fortunate associates, the pure devotees. The pastimes of the Lord in different features can only be estimated partly by the great learned devotees. So Srila Sutta Goswami has rightly taken this position in describing the pastimes of the Lord as far as he has realized. Factually, only the Lord himself can describe himself, and his learned devotee also can describe him as far as the Lord gives him the power of description. Bhaktivedanta purports ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttam shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. So this is the last of this series of verses where Srila Sutta Goswami, there's a conversation, the sages are asking, yes, you have spoken to us about Parīkṣit Maharaj, but actually, we also want to hear about the narrations of the unlimited, the word they use, of the unlimited. And of course, both Sutta Goswami and the sages headed by Shaunak Rishi, they know unlimited means Lord Krishna. Why do they want to hear about the pastimes of unlimited, the narrations of the unlimited? Because it is purifying and it is supreme, it is the highest, it's the best. So why to hear of something which is lower than that? And they're basically requesting him that, yes, you have heard from Sukdev Goswami, who spoke to Parīkṣit Maharaj, and Parīkṣit Maharaj is a pure devotee because he is being full of bhakti yoga. Coming Saturday, we have a festival of yoga, and a lot of the first timers will be coming. So for us, it will be interesting to know what Prabhupada has mentioned in this purport, especially when he's classifying between Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. And also, we can relate to people as much as we know. So immediately, once the sages headed by Shaunak Rishi, they're asking, okay, please speak to us about the Lord and the pastimes with the devotees. Then Sut Goswami, starts with his narrating his disqualification because he's born in a mixed caste. But then he says, even though we were born in a mixed caste, just by associating with great devotees and serving these great devotees who are advanced in knowledge, we are promoted in birthright. So now, imagine this, Sutta Goswami is a mixed caste person, but now he is actually going to narrate Srimad Bhagavatam to the sages of Naimisharanya. So just by associating with Sukdev Goswami, he has got this promotion in the birthright. And then he says, yes, just by speaking to these great souls, yesterday we were speaking and we were mentioning that when you come to a small place like this, like Brisbane, you go to a big center like Melbourne or Durban or Johannesburg, where all these wonderful Vaishnavas come, you get a fleeting moment with them, just a little association, nothing major, because there are lots of devotees surrounding them. But here in Brisbane, when devotees come, we get a lot of association. So Sutta Goswami says, yes, even by conversing just for a small moment, we know the verse, sadhu sangha sarva shastra kahe, lava matra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoye. So just by a moment's association, we can get our disqualifications reduced or eradicated, and we can be promoted. And then Sutta Goswami says, very interestingly, he says, yes, for someone like me, I get promoted. Then what happens to people who are actually serving under the direction of the great devotees? They're chanting, they are serving, they are worshipping. Who? The unlimited, who has unlimited potency. And Vrajadipika Mataji, very nicely, she elaborated on this unlimited quality of Supreme. So here, once Sutta Goswami is saying, yes, we are going to speak, but how much are we going to speak? So he says, I shall try to describe to you the pastimes of the Lord as far as my knowledge is concerned. Now, when we come to the Hare Krishna movement, it's interesting. Yesterday we were discussing also that when we start studying Prabhupada's books, we actually know how much we don't know. So then by the association of pure devotees like Srila Prabhupada, then our knowledge increases, our realization increases by our spiritual practices, and then we can describe the pastimes more and more and more. And here Sutta Goswami describes, he gives the analogy of the birds flying in the sky. As far as they can fly, they'll fly, and then they'll take some rest, and they'll fly again. Recently, I read, probably a few months ago, that there is a bird which can fly, some few hundred kilometers or thousands of kilometers, and the actual weight of the bird is some 300-400 grams or something like that. It's a very light bird, and it can fly a long distance. Of course, this is Krishna's creation. So, when we are discussing the topic of Vandanam prayers, so we should pray, and here again the same thing applies, that we can pray as much as we can. But when we pray following in the footsteps of acharyas like Narottam Das Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and those wonderful devotional poets, then our capacity increases also. So by following in the footsteps of these great acharyas, these great devotees, not only our knowledge is increasing, but also by our spiritual practice, by hearing and constant chanting, by constant hearing, our realizations also increase. And thus we can describe about the Lord more and more and more. For example, someone comes to you and, they have different doubts, and people come to you with different doubts. Then how do you address those doubts? Sometimes we think we are not qualified, but somehow or the other, with Krishna's mercy, when we start speaking, we can try and alleviate their doubts. Someone might say, okay, the process you are doing is not correct. Someone might say, you should be meditative when you're doing arti. Someone might say, why you're dancing like this. Someone might say you should not do this, do that, like that. But then once we have the knowledge, then we can also explain them that this is the reason why we do this. This is the reason, because the Lord is happy, we are happy. And when we become happy in devotional service, we must chant and dance, or we are inspired to chant and dance. Prabhupada here, he speaks about the three aspects of the Lord. Krishna, when we see our life, we have, right now we just think about our life as of now, right? But when we understand that we are in a very fortunate position, why? Because in our previous lifetimes, what we have done is we have spent lifetime after lifetime doing what? Just attempting in a very frustrated manner of finding happiness. So we have tried to find out happiness in this material world, and we have been constantly frustrated. Of course, in a purest form as Jiva, we are Sat Chit Ananda. We are eternal, we are full of knowledge and bliss, right? So this Brahma, Paramatma and Bhagavan is actually correlating with the Sat Chit Ananda aspect of the Lord. And of course, in our attempt to find the happiness like that. In the second canto, as we discussed before, in the second canto, in the first 3 chapters, the Bhagavatam finishes. I think the chapters are entitled as the first step in God realization, the Lord in the heart, and pure devotional service, the change of heart. So first step in God realization is, of course, the Brahma feature, the Lord in the heart is Paramatma feature, and the pure devotional service is the Bhagavan feature. So essentially, the 3rd chapter of second canto finishes Bhagavatam. But as we know, time and time again, we have seen this theme come up, Swadu, Swadu, Pade, Pade. Devotees want to hear more and more and more. So that's why we are hearing Bhagavatam. Now, if we understand our position, that for lifetimes we have attempted to find happiness, but we have been frustrated. But now, with Prabhupada's grace, with Prabhupada's mercy, we understand that the spirit soul, us as Jiva, in the purest form, we are Sat Chit Ananda. Of course, in a very minute quantity. We have come to a stage where we have now begun our serious search for the absolute truth. Here in the purport, Prabhupada says the supreme absolute truth is unlimited. So with supreme absolute truth, I repeat again, with S capital, A capital and T capital is speaking about, of course, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. But we understand, being devotees, that Krishna is a person and the Supreme Absolute Truth is a person. But you'll find many people in the world who do not accept the Supreme Absolute Truth as a person. In their search, they're thinking, no, just an authority, some light, some energy. Someone else who's a little bit more, seeker, they'll try to see, okay, outside everything is not good, it doesn't give me any happiness. Can I go internal? So this way, our search begins. Now, first thing, as we know, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes in the verses 212 to 230, 31, I think, that we are eternal. And because eternality is so integral to our nature, right? We naturally look for that in the material world because we are surrounded in the material world. So our search has begun. We are eternal and we are looking for eternality in the material world, right? So now again, as devotees, of course, with someone else, who are jnanis, they will understand that material world is temporary, but they don't want to surrender. So they will, seek the Brahma feature. But for us, it brings us to the Sat feature, the Sat aspect of the absolute truth. So we understand, yes, there is the absolute truth, but we have realized only the Sat aspect, the eternality aspect, the impersonal Brahman. Later on, when we progress, we understand that yes, the absolute truth also is sentient, right? Chitta. It has got the uh, capacity to oversee the entirety of the cosmos. So we can see there's Sat and there's Chit, there's knowledge there. Eternality is there and there is knowledge there, knowledge of the absolute. So this is the Chit potency of the Lord, the Chit aspect of the absolute truth. And this is the Paramatma feature. Um, and what does the Paramatma feature do? Interestingly, one very important aspect of the Paramatma feature is that because of the sanctions of the desires, all the desires we have, it is keeping the clockwork ticking of the material world because of the various desires of various living entities, and Paramatma is giving the rubber stamp, is putting the rubber stamp. But then as devotees, we are still not satisfied. We know the Sat and the Chit feature are there, the Brahma feature, the Paramatma feature. And finally, when we understand that yes, no, there has to be something more than that, then somehow or the other, Brahmande Brahmite Kauna Bhagyavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Prasade Paye Bhakti Lata Bij. Somehow or the other, with immense mercy of the Lord, the Guru, the devotees, we come to this understanding, yes, Sat and Chit are there, wonderful, but they are not enough. So what happens here? Then we understand that yes, Krishna's abode, Krishna's Leela, Krishna's Roop is separate from this temporary world. And this brings us to the concept of Ananda, bliss, the Sat Chit Anand aspect of the absolute truth known as Bhagavan. And then how does Bhagavan manifests himself? As Suta Goswami says here, now I'll start describing. So Suta Goswami will now start describing the Leela of the Lord, which Parīkṣit Mahārāja has heard. And we'll see tomorrow that he starts the story of speaking about Parīkṣit Mahārāja, the wonderful devotee of the Lord. So this is our search. We have spent unlimited lifetimes looking for Ananda. We have come to a stage where we can understand the Satchitananda feature of the Lord, the Brahma, Paramatma, and the Bhagavan feature of the Lord. Interestingly, Jiva Goswami explains this perception of absolute truth in a different way, with a slightly different degree. Because Brahma, the Jnanis are, looking for, getting out of this material world. They want liberation, but they don't want to take shelter of the Lord, right? So they don't want the material world, but they don't want the spiritual world. They understand that, okay, material world is useless, but the same thing they apply, that even the absolute truth, what they're looking for, has got no potency. So Jiva Goswami says, when one perceives the absolute truth without potency, that is Brahma realization. So they think, okay, so Brahma Jyoti, as we know, there's nothing happening there. It's just, effulgence. There's no activity happening there. So it is without any potency. That's the Brahma feature. Jiva Goswami further says that when one perceives the absolute truth with a material potency, right? So the yogi in the heart, he understands that yes, I am there, Paramatma is there, and Paramatma has these material potencies. So let me connect with Paramatma and see what realization I can get. This is the Paramatma realization. But when one perceives the absolute truth with both material and spiritual potencies, this is the Bhagwan realization. And Jiva Goswami says, this is the most complete understanding. And then the relationship building is starting. So we know that in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the story of Parīkṣit Mahārāja will start. And so far the prelude has come, and Sut Goswami is now going to speak about Parīkṣit Mahārāja and of course the various incarnations of Krishna, various devotees of Krishna, and at the end about Lord Krishna himself. We now understand that yes, we need to establish a relationship with Krishna, following in the footsteps of someone like Sukadeva Goswami. Sukadeva Goswami also himself, as we know, he was a monist in the beginning. But then he heard as Sachinandan Maharaj describes, the super mercy Leela of Krishna. Krishna giving the position of a nurse to Putana. And there's a very beautiful verse in the 3rd canto where Sukadeva Goswami is describing this super mercy Leela. It's the 3rd canto for you who are referencing, 2nd chapter and 23rd verse, a very famous verse. Aho bakiyam stanakalakutam jigham sayapayadapapya sadvi lebhe gatim dhatriuchitam tatonyam kamba dayalum sharanam brajema. Such a beautiful verse. Aho bakiyam. When I was reading this verse, I was thinking how this verse has come to us. This is, like sfuring. How do you say? It's what's the English word for that? When some, you get a, in very mundane language, I can say the light bulb moment. But that's not doing justice at all. So Sukadeva Goswami, he is going through, he's a liberated personality, but still when he hears this Leela, he composes this verse, Aho Bakiyam. So who is Baki? Baki is Putana, the sister of Baka. Aho Bakiyam Stanakalakutam. That in her breast she has put Kalakutam. Kalakutam is the deadliest poison. Right? Deadliest poison. And why she has done that? Jigamsaya. Jigamsaya means out of envy. Right? So out of envy, she has put the Kalakutam, the deadliest poison, on her breast. And then it says, Jigamsaya apya yata api sadvi. Asadvi, not sadvi, asadvi. Asadvi means unfaithful, someone who is unfaithful. So she is trying to give the deadliest poison in a very unfaithful manner, but dressed as a faithful person. She's dressed as a wonderful gopi, as a very beautiful gopi. But of course, Krishna knows. Krishna knows that she is a demon. She is a witch. So she has come, and then lebhe gatim dhatri uchitam tato anyam. What does Krishna do? Krishna gives her the position of a dhatri. Dhatri means suitable for a nurse. Dhatri uchitam, suitable for the nurse. Tato anyam kamba dayalum sharanam vrajema. Says, how can I take shelter of one more merciful than he who granted the position of a mother to a she-demon, although she was unfaithful, and she prepared deadly poison to be sucked from her breast. So this is such a wonderful verse. And I was thinking of our good fortune that this would have, this feeling of transformation from liberation to pure devotional service would have arisen in Sukadeva Goswami's heart. From there, Vyasdev has written, this some wonderful verse. And then this verse has come through the mercy of Srila Prabhupada to us. Such a beautiful verse where the mercy of Krishna is described. Prabhupada in this purport, he says, here is an example of the extreme mercy of the Lord, even to his enemy. Someone who has come to kill the Lord, but Krishna is extremely merciful. Why? Externally, she was posing as a devotee. And Sachinandan Maharaj writes that our position is the same thing. Externally, I'm posing as the devotee. Internally, I've got no faith, no trust in Krishna. But still, this disqualification becomes qualification when we approach Krishna. And Prabhupada says in this purport, it is said that a noble man accepts the good qualities of a person of doubtful character. So yesterday we spoke about the unlimited mercy of Lord Nityananda. The Prabhupada, he did not see what disqualifications everyone had. He just saw the little light of some quality, even if the person is of a doubtful character, but Prabhupada saw the good quality and he just fanned that good quality and made them into a devotee. So Prabhupada says that it is said that a noble man accepts the good qualities of a person of doubtful character, just as one accepts nectar from a stalk of poison. And then Brahmaji, recounting this Leela, he says, Krishna, for people like this, like we just recently heard, that someone who's born of a lower caste, by association of devotees, they can be promoted. With all our disqualifications, we can be promoted by the mercy of the devotees and by the mercy of the Lord. But Brahmaji then has a doubt. He says, Krishna, if you give yourself like this to people who are not even qualified, that means you have given yourself, your liabilities are more than your assets. What will happen to the devotees who have given their lives to you like Brajvasis? We have discussed this before, but I'm repeating this again in case some of us have forgotten this. So Krishna is so merciful that Brahmaji is actually asking that, Krishna, if you keep on yourself giving to people like this who have got no faith in you, who have come to kill you, nothing will be left. What will you give to the Brajvasis who have given their hearts, their lives, their souls to you, their activities, their thought processes, everything to you? So in our case, we also understand that this is the mercy of the Lord, and we should be freely sharing this mercy to one and all who we meet. I just read that recently that one of the what do you call affirmations. One of the affirmations, it says, "Who are you going to give Prabhupada's mercy today?" Every day we should think about that. Who am I going to give Krishna's mercy today? Who am I going to give Gauranga's mercy today? So this way, when we understand that, yes, we are very fortunate, can I know more and more and more? And then, following in the footsteps of these wonderful devotees, can I give Krishna's name, Krishna's form, Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's abode to someone who meet according to their capacity, according to my capacity. So Prabhupada ends his purport here by saying, so Srila Sutta Goswami has rightly taken this position in describing the pastimes of the Lord as far as he has realized. And then analogy of the birds is given, of course. But then it is also said, factually only the Lord himself can describe himself. I mean, in a way, it's not also true, because Lord in the form of Ananta Shesh has been describing, Lord's pastimes with his 1,000 mouths, unlimited mouths, for unlimited time. But still he is not able to describe himself. So one thing which our acharyas say in a very light manner is that Krishna can do everything except one or two things. And one of the things is that he cannot glorify himself enough, because the moment he glorifies, the glories increase again, just in a very light manner. So Prabhupada says, factually only the Lord himself can describe himself, and his learned devotees also can describe him as far as the Lord gives him the power of description. So we should be trying to hear and read more, and then we can also help others like that. So any questions or comments? Grantraj srimadbhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Any questions or comments, realizations, reflections? Okay, wonderful. You all have a very nice devotional day. Think of Krishna in the Bhagavan form. try to remember his name, his form, his leela, pastimes, and share with one and all you meet. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.